Joplin ends with an arrest, and we explain why a Southwest Missouri Police Department has added a phlebotomist to the staff. KOIM News at 10 is next. Now at 10, a SWAT standoff in Joplin ends with the arrest of one man. Plus, a case concerning a brain-eating amoeba might be connected to the Lake of the Ozarks. And lawmakers in Missouri strike up the conversation about redistricting in the Show Me states.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Joplin SWAT team is called into the Easttown neighborhood this afternoon and leave tonight with one man in custody. This is KOIM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. Police had initially responded to a report of a disturbance at a home on the 1300 block of South Furnace. That was around 2 p.m. Captain Austin Wolf says an armed man had entered the home and was refusing to leave. The residents of the home were able to get out safely, but then a standoff began between the man inside and the SWAT team. Around 5 p.m., that SWAT team began dropping flashbangs into the home.
Despite the officers' efforts, the suspect did not leave the house, and so based on a lot of circumstances, SWAT was called. And one of the biggest reasons is we received information that the suspect was armed with possibly 2 long rifles.
The suspect left the home and surrendered to police. Captain Wolf says he expects a first-degree burglary charge among the charges filed. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy now for a first look at the weather.
And it turned out to be a pretty good Wednesday for us today. We had quite a bit of sunshine, temperatures around 90, but we are going to start to heat things up as we go through the next few days. We're looking at mainly upper 90s Friday, Saturday, Sunday into Monday. Heat indices are going to pop up there just a bit. A little bit of rain Monday and Tuesday. If we can get that front in, it will cool down a little bit by the middle of next week. But for tonight, clear skies. That's what we have. As we go through the overnight hours, we'll back down upper 60s for overnight lows. A little bit hotter, about 94, 95, 96 degrees in spots tomorrow afternoon. 78 in Joplin, 74 in Pittsburgh. Most of us are sitting into the upper 70s, and you can see a typical August day for us today. High of 90, average high is 91, but we heat up. We'll look at that here in a bit.
Catching a few. A warning from Missouri public health officials. A resident has contracted an infection from what's commonly called the brain-eating amoeba. Now investigators are trying to determine if it's linked to the Lake of the Ozarks. Authorities say while it's not confirmed, preliminary information implies the patient might have been water skiing at the Lake of the Ozarks prior to becoming ill. The amoeba is common and naturally present in warm freshwater such as lakes, rivers, and ponds. However, the infection is very rare, typically affecting fewer than 10 people a year in the U.S. Missouri patient is an adult and is currently in intensive care. Health officials say the infection cannot be spread by swallowing contaminated water. Instead, the amoeba travels up the nose and to the brain. People can reduce the risk of infection by avoiding stirring up sediment while in shallow, warm, freshwater areas. The symptoms include fever, nausea, vomiting, stiff neck, and seizures. Also an altered mental status and hallucinations. The disease progresses rapidly, so anyone experiencing the symptoms after swimming in a warm body of water should seek medical help immediately. You can find more information at KOIMnewsnow.com. As the new school year kicks off, there are more than just buses back on the road. A lot of team drivers are out there too right now. AAA is urging everyone behind the wheel to stay alert, especially near school zones and busy intersections, by putting phones down and keeping eyes up. AAA says a pedestrian hit at 35 miles per hour is 2/3 more likely to be killed than if the vehicle were going just 10 miles per hour slower.
The school bus laws are in effect for a reason, where if they have their flashing lights on or their stop sign up, traffic is required in both directions to come to a stop. You have a lot of kids, young kids that may be riding the bus for the first time, and it can be a challenge. So make sure you're following those bus laws.
Last year in Missouri, 106 people died in crashes involving distractions. Of those, 52% were someone other than the distracted driver. Officials in McDonald County, Missouri says large cycling events are raising some safety concerns. So the county commission is now working on a plan to gain more oversight for those events. Recently, there was a race that brought in more than 1,300 participants. County officials were not made aware beforehand, causing not only traffic issues, but also safety concerns as first responders were unexpectedly spread thin. A planned ordinance would require organizers to get a permit and work out a plan with law enforcement to ensure safety.
The bike race supposedly coming here in a couple months, and we've been working also with the bike race promoters, and they've been very cooperative. So I think we've got something we can work with and make this event a whole lot safer and still hopefully provide some kind of economic boost for the county down the road.
The commission says because there are several upcoming cycling races and events scheduled in McDonald County within the next few months, they're working to get an ordinance implemented within the coming weeks. Missouri lawmakers are following Texas's lead and talking about redrawing the congressional map. As Laura Bachewski reports, while Republicans in both the State House and the Senate support the move, Democrats say it could be illegal.
Last month, President Donald Trump started the push with Texas, asking its governor and state legislators to redraw the congressional map. That pressure continued down the line for largely Republican states like Missouri. The president has support from lawmakers like Representative Justin Sparks.
What Missouri Republicans are simply talking about is not gerrymandering unequal or ridiculous districts that are outside the norm. We're talking about very well thought out equal representation.
Sparks and Senator Nick Schroer are part of the Missouri Freedom Caucus, officially calling on Governor Mike Kehoe a little more than 2 weeks ago, focusing heavily on redrawing Kansas City's district.
Creating a competitive seat rather than just a slam dunk for Democrats on the Kansas City side. That's what voters wanted. They wanted a competitive seat so they can look at both options and see who's the best choice.
The Missouri Legislative Black Caucus says voters in KC made their choice in Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, and they can't support redistricting.
His last election, Congressman Cleaver won 60% of the voters. He is respected by Democrats and also with some Republicans. He has held this seat since 2005.
They also say it's illegal to take on redistricting right now.
Redistricting is supposed to happen every 10 years after a U.S. census, and that's in Article 3 of the Missouri Constitution. Unfortunately, the Republicans this year has done so much to destroy the will of the people.
I posed the legality question to Senator Schroer. Is this legal to do since we had already just done this in 2022 following the census?
Absolutely. It's 100% legal to do it. It's just, what's the end result going to be? Is that going to be legal? And that's something that I think all legislators need to keep in mind.
Senator Tracy McCreary showed her support for the Black Caucus and is against redistricting at this time, but says the issue doesn't quite follow along party lines like it might seem.
It's just because things might not be going your way, you don't get to change the rules in the middle of the game. So I'm hearing from constituents, independents, Democrats, and Republicans that think that we should be respectful of the process that Missouri and other states in our country have used for decades.
Governor Mike Kehoe would have to call a special session to reconfigure the state's 8 congressional districts. A spokesperson from his office says he has not made a decision on whether he plans to do that or not. A police department in Southwest Missouri has a new hire for DWI investigations. We're going to take a look at the officer handling blood work coming up. And later, fall allergy sufferers head to the medicine chest. We have some advice for dealing with the latest seasonal allergies. Southwest Missouri Police Department is making some changes to help officers during DWI investigations. One important part of these investigations is often the blood work, and as Adam Woodbury reports, the department now has an officer trained to do that.
The Aurora Marionville Police Department isn't the only law enforcement agency that has a trained phlebotomist on staff. Springfield Police, Monett Police, the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office all have them. The police chief here says that having someone who's able to come at a moment's notice can make a big difference when the minutes count.
Over the last couple of decades, the need for blood testing for driving while intoxicated enforcement has become much higher than the need for breath.
There was a time when a breathalyzer test was a bit of a gold standard for DWI investigations. But now Chief Wes Coatney says people are using more substances that wouldn't be detected.
Blood draw has to happen within a certain period of time for us to get an accurate account of what their intoxication level was at the time of the stop.
That's why the department sent an officer through a phlebotomy course with the Missouri Safety Center, and he's ready to go to the station anytime to do the work.
I've pretty much been able to set up my home life so that I'm ready whenever something comes up.
Sergeant Tim Swadley has been with the department for 17 years. He's also the school resource officer. He says it's been common to spend a few hours at the hospital waiting for a blood draw, but now it can all get done at the police station in just a few minutes.
So we had an issue a few weeks ago where they arrested somebody in the night, and from the time of the phone call to the time of me collecting the blood is about 20 minutes.
Now when you're brought in, they'll bring you in here to this chair, and that's when Sergeant Swadley will be doing his work. Be gentle with me too.
Oh, it'll be all right. You won't even notice.
Sometimes people who are arrested for DWI won't consent to having their blood drawn, and if that happens, officers can get a search warrant and do it.
When you're talking about a police officer who is most likely on the same department as the other officer doing the investigation, or potentially the very same officer who is doing the DWI investigation, that could raise some concerns.
Criminal defense attorney Adam Woody says for him, having an officer trained to draw blood could be seen as a conflict of interest, even though state statute allows it. But he also recognizes why it would be beneficial for a rural community.
They wouldn't necessarily have 24/7 on-staff nursing at the jails, and oftentimes ambulance districts are stretched too thin in the rural jurisdictions to really respond to do those types of things.
Now, the department isn't able to actually test the blood on site. It's only able to withdraw it. The blood is then sent to the Missouri State Highway Patrol's lab in Springfield for testing. A little bit later, some pet owners let the dogs out for a good time at the Pittsburgh Aquatic Center.
And our temperatures start to heat back up a bit. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice mid-August day, right about where we should be for this time of the year. High temps right around 90, a little humid, but could be much, much worse for this time of the year. And it looks pretty good right now. We don't really have anything going on. We're going to stay nice and calm as we go through the overnight hours. All right, let me walk you through the next 48 hours. We're going to start tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Upper 60s. 67, 68 degrees, still fairly comfortable if you're getting up early. Here's about 6 in the morning. Let me take you to the noon hour. A little bit of a southerly fetch of wind. Should get near 90 by noon. As we go into the afternoon, we'll stop this at about 4:30. This is roughly when your high temperature is. 92 in Stockton, 94 in Anderson, 94 at Grand Lake Chanute, up to 91. So to recap your day on Thursday, quite a bit of sunshine, light breeze, some humidity, and about 2 or 3 degrees warmer than what we saw today. Let's go into Thursday night into Friday morning. We don't back down quite as much. Lower 70s to kick off your Friday, and a smidge hotter. Friday afternoon, we're talking 96, 97, maybe 98 once you get into northeastern parts of Oklahoma. Thursday, day planner 69 to start, 90 by noon. High temp, 94 during the afternoon. Looks good right now. Great shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. 76 in Nevada, but it's still 81 in Anderson, so a little bit of a range. It's warm, but at least we'll get back into the upper 60s. Here's a good key to where our overnight low is going to be. These are our dew points in degree fashion. When our temperature drops to the dew point, you get dew. So most likely our temperatures will drop back to about 67 or 68 degrees, but still in that range, it makes it feel a little bit on the sticky side. Heat index over the next couple days starts to creep up a bit. It's going to feel like 97-ish on your Thursday. As we go into your Friday, it's going to feel like about 100 to 103, so it gets a little bit hotter over the next couple days. Main culprit is that guy. Big dome of high pressure. He moves in on top of us in the summer months. When it gets on top of us, it's usually sunny, it's hot, and it's humid. Most of the rain rotates around that high. This is going to hold through the weekend into early next week, and then it starts to retrograde back toward the west. This should allow a wave or two to rotate around that high. Hopefully, we can get a cold front that shifts through. If we can, we'll get a little bit of rain and a little bit cooler. Not Saturday, still 96, 97, 98 degrees. Sunday, 96, 97, 98 degrees. Monday, maybe a random storm, still hot, upper 90s. Tuesday, we're going to see if we can get a front in here and start to cool us off just a little bit. Let's go 94 on your Thursday, 97 on Friday, 97 Saturday and Sunday, 96 on Monday. So a hot stretch, not super hot. We haven't hit 100 yet this year. I'm hoping we don't. Now, we've made a lot of close calls, but we haven't hit it.
Yeah, flirting with the edge of those triple digits, but not quite there. Thanks, Doug. A lot of you don't have to know what time of year it is. We're getting close to that transition from summer to fall allergy season. The basic fall allergens can cause symptoms like itchy, watery eyes, sore throat, sneezing, and itching. Mold and weeds like ragweed, which start presenting around mid-August, tend to be the biggest culprits. When the leaves start falling off the trees and the rain and cool nights return, well, it can cause some distress for allergy sufferers of other sorts of allergens. Doctors at Mercy say starting your allergy medications now can help keep those allergies at bay throughout the fall season.
Like antihistamines like Zyrtec, Claritin, Allegra, and nasal steroid sprays like Flonase. If you start them at the beginning of August, then it has a chance to build up into your systems. If you've already started having symptoms or we've already started in that allergen season, you can still benefit from taking the medication. You just may still experience some of those symptoms initially.
When the pollen is at its highest, doctors say you should keep your window shut and shed any clothes that have been outdoors. You can bring pollen into your home and cause more stress if you're not careful. They also say to take a shower and to wash the pollen off your skin, but they say avoiding the outdoors is best. Look at this, 15th annual Dog Swim, sponsored by the Pittsburgh Parks and Recreation. It was hosting a splashing puppy party that saw dogs and their owners come out for lots of tail wagging and cool wading. The swim was open to the public and required a vaccination record prior to entering the park. That would be for the dogs anyway. All donations were given to the SEK Humane Society.
So it all goes towards our medical costs. So right now, unfortunately, what we're seeing from a lot of intakes is that a lot of kids are coming in hurt or sick, sadly. We've had to do a lot of emergency surgeries. So the funds from this event are going to go straight to those kids with getting them back on their feet.
A lot of various breeds took a break from the dog days of summer to splash their way to happiness under the guidance of their owners. It was a tail wagging good time. Some of them didn't have a tail. Still ahead, the Royals and Cardinals wrapped up their current series today. We're going to have the latest on how they fared, and high school football practices are ramping up across Missouri and Oklahoma. We'll hear from the Nevada Tigers next.
The Nevada Tigers have established themselves as a winning program with 5 consecutive winning seasons. And as the Tigers enter 2025, familiar faces will lead the way on both sides of the ball. Offensively, Nevada will stick to their roots on the ground with a strong run game that has become a focal point in recent years. The Tigers return a dangerous duo in the backfield to pair with their dual threat quarterback.
We've been very successful running the football over the last couple of years. We've had 3 years in a row with an all-state running back. Will Jackson was first team all-conference and first team all-Southwest Missouri and third team all-state. As a sophomore last year, had 1,400 yards rushing. John Michael Collins kind of had our eyes on him for quite a while. Very talented back when he was in middle school. He ended up with being our leading receiver out of the slot and also rushing 4,000 yards too. And he was all-conference first team and all-area first team. So we know what those guys bring to the table. And then when you mix in a young man like Kellen Braden who can run the ball kind of like a fullback mentality, and it can also throw it a little bit. That gives us the opportunity to throw the ball a little bit too off the run action.
Over the past few seasons, the linebacker position has been a strength for the Nevada defense, and this year won't be any different. The Tigers will rely on their linebackers to lead the way in 2025 with 3 returning starters from a year ago.
I just think, having a good linebacker group, that's a big part of our defense, kind of the center of the defense, push guys to fly around, make plays. We just got to give it our all every play.
They're not only physical and downhill guys that also drop and cover the pass well, they're also high character guys. got Jet Snyder, Drew Miller, and Kobe Buck are the three returners that you're talking of. Two of those guys were all conference, Drew Miller and Jet Snyder. And our linebackers definitely lead the defense. Our defensive coordinator, Neil Barnes, coaches our linebackers, and we've had a good run of linebackers here for the last 5 or 6 years.
The Tigers open their season on the road against Monette on August 29th. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. The Royals and Cardinals highlighted the afternoon sports slate today as Kansas City wrapped up their series against the Nationals, with St. Louis battling the Rockies. KC looking to pick up the 3-game sweep of Washington, but falls short, dropping the finale 8-7. Royals trailed 5-0 after the first inning, but mounted a comeback, scoring 7 of the game's next 9 runs to tie it in the 8th. But a go-ahead single in the 9th inning fueled the Nationals to the win. Vinny Pasquantino hit his second home run in as many days and finished with 4 RBIs. Bobby Wood Jr., he put together another multi-hit performance and collected a pair of ribbies as well. Kansas City has the off day tomorrow and welcomed the White Sox to town on Friday. As for the Cardinals, today's rubber match was for the series. For the second time in the last month, the Rockies take a series from St. Louis with a 6-5 win today. Pedro Pages knocked in a pair of runs for the Redbirds, along with Alec Burleson and Mason Wynn, each clearing the yard with homers as well. But a Hunter Goodman go-ahead 2-run blast in the 9th inning fueled Colorado to their second straight win. That's it for sports. We're back after the break.
It's been hot enough out there, but it's going to get hotter still.
Yeah, at least the past couple days have been a little bit cooler than what we had late last week, but inching upwards, 94 tomorrow, 97s Friday, Saturday, Sunday, heat index again, kind of like what we've been used to, 100 to about 105. Maybe a little bit cooler the middle of next week.
It's typical. Get used to. I don't know that you ever really get used to this.
No.
You put up with it, because what do? You're living in the 4 states in the summer. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget the morning show starts at 5 a.m. and let's make it a great tomorrow.